libertarians, Ron Paul folks, some Republicans.
I'm not a Democrat, and I like her.
Right. That's going to be interesting, though, because the modern political liberal media hates that. Because you're the enemy. You're the enemy. Even though you're not a Republican, you call yourself a conservative, you're a white man, bad guy.
That's true.
That's going to be the problem is they're not going to want to give her any space because she has the wrong people interested in her campaign.
Well, here's the thing that she's done that others haven't done. One other has. She's been on the Joe Rogan podcast twice.
Right.
I'm sure she'll be on a third time.
Right.
The only other candidate that's been on is Andrew Yang.
Right.
That's it.
Mm-hmm.
Joe Biden's never going to go on the Joe Rogan Experience. Cory Booker's never going to go on. First of all, I don't think Rogan would want them because they're not interesting. Gabbard and Yang are interesting. They are truly different. I mean, Andrew Yang
is very different. Yeah.
I don't have him as I don't think he's a progressive. I think he's a new age guy.
Yeah. He's from a whole nother place.
And by the way, I don't want to get off on Gabbard, but on Yang, he'll never make it. No, he's
actually in 4th or 5th, but like at 4 or 5%.
Yeah,
so he's hanging in there.
Well, because there's a lot of people who like him just because he is so different. Mm-hmm. I think that's what they like about him.
He's taking a risk with the UBI thing and whatever. He's taking. Nobody else is taking a risk. Warren's
explain what the UBI is.
It's basically he wants to give, once you turn 18, you get $1,000 a month for the rest of your life from the federal government.
Right. And the reason that is, and he's a tech guy, okay? That's his background. He's not a politician. He's a tech wizard. But he says all this automation is going to eliminate jobs. Mm-hmm. And so everybody needs $1,000 a month. Mm-hmm. Well, newsflash, what are you going to do with $12,000 a year? You can't live with your mom on $12,000 a year.
Yeah, and that's I think I wish he had. I would have loved. I like the logic behind it, but I would have liked to see him evolve because because it's not means tested. Oprah gets 1,000.
Everybody does. Yeah.
Warren Buffett gets 1,000.
Yeah.
That's not going to fly.
Yeah. Everybody gets it.
Everyone gets it.
Well, not exactly. Everybody doesn't get it. If you are on welfare and you already get $1,200 a month, you don't get an extra 1,000. That's part of your $1,000. So if you're already getting that money from the government, because that's what he said. Because Rogan said you can't give it to everybody.
I was looking at that because that's
because everybody does
a problem for the Democratic.
Warren Buffett gets it, but a fatherless mother or a mother with no father and 3 children, she doesn't get it. Because she's already getting $2,100 a month in ADC and everything else.
That's going to be a problem.
Yeah, it'll never.
I think I like the foundation behind it. I would rather it be more of an investment opportunity. Mm-hmm. It's like, for instance, like there's in Missouri, if you lost your job, they'll pay you to get an A-class license. Yes. Now think about it. I don't care what you say, and I know from this industry, if you have an A-class trucking license, you will never go hungry.
To those who don't know, that's how you make your money. Indirectly in the trucking business.
Oh, tell me, yeah. I'm a manager. You know, I don't drive the big trucks. I have a license for the straight trucks, but I'm manager and coordinator. But I still move furniture too.
Right.
So, you know, you can make just bumping docks $20, $23, $25 an hour, which is one of the main reasons why I'm 100% against this tomorrow minimum wage $15 an hour. It is one of the worst ideas for working people who have built themselves up to making $20, $24, $23 an hour, $25. It is such a bad thing for them to just say anyone coming in without that skill, the company has to pay them for marginal revenue product they haven't created. What marginal revenue product means is basically, to make it simple, I got to pay you $12 an hour. Mm-hmm. After everything's done, what you've done for that hour, let's say it's worth $20 in revenue. After I pay for your insurance and everything else, I get $3 profit, $2 profit per hour every time you work. If your product is not higher than what I have to pay you, your job is gone. It's just that simple.
Yeah,
there's no other way around that equation.
The business can't stay in the red. And if you pay this guy 8 and this guy 20, okay, that works. But if you pay this guy 15, you can't pay this guy 20.
Exactly. Or you have to have someone on salary do that guy's $8 an hour job because you're getting rid of that $8 an hour job.
Right.
Because if they don't have the skill, there's no way to justify that job and expense.
Well, and automation is, to Yang's credit, automation does eliminate jobs.
Absolutely. But it always has.
But it always has. And Andrew Yang is much smarter than me. I've heard the same thing out of Elon Musk, who is much, much, much smarter than me.
In a frightening way.
Yeah. But friend, we are never going to get to the point where, well, there are no jobs because computers are doing everything. That's never going to happen.
And here's the thing.
Never.
I'm not exactly in our, like, we don't have the tech in understanding them, but I know a lot of tech guys say that to me.
And I'm sorry, but they're wrong.
Because that's one area of expertise, but we have areas of expertise. They'll tell us there is no way that anytime in the next generation, people are going to let robots carry sofas into a woman's house because there's other aspects of the job. A lot of tech guys just think everyone is going to want their cars to be driven by some automatic robotic GPS. There's a human factor in what human beings are willing to accept politically, socially, intellectually, spiritually. That's not going to let that happen anytime soon. It's not just the work that you do, productivity. It's also the interactional thing. Do you want someone, or do you want a robot that you... And there's a lot of drawbacks to dealing with purely automated stuff, too, that they don't talk about.
Yeah.
Because if something goes wrong and it's a person, hey, James, let's talk about it. If your mover is a robot, hey, man, I'm missing something. I don't care.
Yeah, exactly. Well, and let's say they have movers that are robots. Let's say they do it.
Right.
Okay, what's going to happen when that robot steps on the cat and kills it?
Exactly.
Okay, it's lawsuit time. What happens?
Exactly.
What happens when that robot steps on the infant child crawling across the floor and kills it?
Right.
Someone's writing a check for the profits for that year, or maybe the next 10 years.
And the entire program is going to have legislation against it.
That's exactly right. And the same thing is with the trucking. They're never going to have the driverless trucks.
I know that.
They have driverless trucks already. They're called trains, okay? And the driverless truck deal, they say now, well, you know what? You're never going to have a driverless truck in L.A., but you can go west of Kansas City and then drive it to Salt Lake City. By itself? Well, no, you'll have somebody in a remote location monitoring that. Why not have him sit in the cab of the truck? You're not eliminating. You haven't eliminated a job. Okay, he's doing it in Somerset, New Jersey, instead of driving across the country. But you haven't eliminated the job. You've not.
No. And so, I mean, I think that there's some tech alarmism involved with the Yang movement that I'm not entirely. I just don't think is consistent with the overall economics and reality, because they're tech guys, we're business guys or whatever. But I do like the fact that he's tackling the issue. And that's nice.
If a Democrat wins the nomination, or if a Democrat wins the presidency, he would be best served to talk to Andrew Yang and say, hey, I'd like to put you in a cabinet post.
Absolutely.
That would be a good deal.
Absolutely.
Kirsten Gillibrand.
One of my top 3 least favorite candidates. She is the personification of what is wrong with the Democratic Party.
She used to be a moderate once upon a time.
Thank you, bingo. And that's exactly where I want to go with this. She wasn't just a moderate, James. She was these immigrants coming into this nice suburban New York town are scary to you. So go out, go buy a gun, and I'll defend it. Christine Gillibrand sounded way more like Donald Trump than she sounds like Elizabeth Warren. And then that's when she was local. And then she ran for the Senate. Oh, wait a minute. All of a sudden, I'm progressive. Immigration reform, gun control. I have no problem with people evolving. I do have a problem with this litmus test. If you submit yourself to a litmus test, I don't want you anywhere near the White House. Let me tell you this. Until this absolutely, utterly terrible nonsense that Donald Trump has gotten himself into this week, and the whole thing with Iran and shooting down, I would actually tell you that if I had a choice between Donald Trump and Christine Gillibrand, I would probably hit Trump.
Wow.
I think
that speaks volumes.
Yes.
Coming from you.
Christine Gillibrand is the epitome of why a lot of black folks in Michigan and Wisconsin didn't vote for Hillary Clinton, in my opinion. they see people like Christine Gillibrand every day pretend like they're their best friend. Then they hear that little thing on the side around the corner. Oh, I'm going to feel a little nervous. Oh, just give me an example. Christine Gillibrand was like, white privilege is you have white privilege and you have it harder than anyone else because you're black and you're white. And you don't know what it's like. So she tells one crowd this. Then she goes to another crowd of almost all white women. If someone's pro-life, it's just like they're racist.
Yeah.
Those two concepts do not go together. There are so many pro-life black people.
A lot.
So you're telling me that those pro-life young black, I would say 2 out of 3 young black men under 30 that I know that I've worked with, the quote working, they don't ever talk about working class black people, of course, because just black people, the black vote. We're just the black vote. But most of the young black men I talk to are pro-life, strongly pro-life. You're trying to tell me that those people that you just went to one crowd with enough black faces and the right liberals who go to their hot yoga in the inner city and then drive to their nice homes up in Westchester or whatever. You told them white privilege. Oh my gosh, it's a real thing. Then you go to another group of people, mostly white folks with money, and say, if you're pro-life, you might as well be a Klansman.
Yeah.
That is the epitome of why a lot of black folks don't trust either party.
That's pandering.
And it's beyond pandering. It's absolutely not true.
Well, my absolute biggest problem and why I could never vote for Kirsten Hillebrand, her number one issue, women's issues. Okay, if that's your number one issue, I'm not a woman. What are you going to do for me?
You're on a roll today.
Have I
Somehow
gotten
you're like...
No, but I'm going to think about it. I mean, it's women's issues. I mean, I'm not a woman.
It's not the president's job.
That's exactly right. It's
president's job is commander-in-chief. That's the first job you have. Commander-in-chief. Which is why Gabbert's my number one choice.
Kamala Harris.
That's my single least favorite person running in this race. Another person, and again, had it not been for Trump's awful week, without question, I would have voted for... I'm not saying... I don't know that I could ever vote for Trump. I'm just saying, theoretically, I think Kamala Harris is the single worst example of what's wrong with the Democratic Party. Even worse than Christine Gillibrand.
And the thing is...
she's awful.
Based on what she's done recently, I agree. She won the Senate seat in California, and she ran against... I forget her name. She was she took over for B1 Bob's seat in Orange County.
Yeah, I forgot her name too.
But both of them were relatively moderate. Now,
the Sanders people couldn't stand Harris.
Well, but when she was Willie Brown's old governor of San Francisco, she was in cahoots with him somehow. Right. Some even say it was sexual. I don't care about that. But she was relatively moderate on some issues, and then bang, she turned on a dime. Now her whole thing is civil rights. Again, not that we don't need civil rights, not that the civil rights movement still needs help. I mean, we're not there yet. We're better than we used to be, but there's still things to do. But again, if you tell me that civil rights is the number one thing, you've lost me because you're not going to do anything for me.
It's a fad. That's the modern political trend because of the things that happened in Ferguson, the things that happened with Trayvon Martin, the things that have happened with the media and different issues where race has become, and many times rightfully Colin Kaepernick, whatever. But on that note of her being moderate, and because the reason why I'm so opposed to come out because she was my number one choice 4 months ago
when she ran against, and the lady's name escapes me, from Orange County.
Yeah,
she went way to the center.
Yeah,
because this gal was, I mean, she was in B1 Bob's old district. Okay, right. Primarily Hispanic now, but Harris had to run to the center, or she'd have never beat that gal.
No, there's no
way.
And at that point, I liked her. I liked her as a center. But then I really looked into her record and her background. Kamala Harris is the epitome of a dishonest politician. She's the epitome of a political opportunist that will just stand there and lie to your face and tell you that she believes in what you believe in. And as soon as you're out the room, she's like, nah, man. Let me give you 3 or 4 quick examples. Okay, we already did the thing with Joe Biden and the busing thing.
Yeah,
I was that little girl. Come on. No, you didn't. No.